meditating or praying. He's meditating. You can do what you want to do.
Okay, I'm done. You guys are too much. Oh, okay. A very good morning to you guys. Welcome to the reality shift. This is the first women's round circle, and it's an absolute honor to have these phenomenal beings on the show today. I'm so glad to have these persons here today. And the topic of discussion today is, what does it mean to be authentic or true to yourself, and at what cost? And I'm just going to go around the circle and we're just going to introduce everybody. Ladies, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on. Yeah. Okay, we're just going to start this side, and please just introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, I'm Annalisa. Hi, I'm Sneh.
Hello, I'm Skile.
Hi everyone, I'm Tandulu Tuli.
Hey, I'm Yolanda Mimalo.
Okay, so that's basically the round circle that we have. And I'd just like to start off with just talking a bit about myself and my experience with the topic. And yeah, this is just going to be a genuine conversation. And please do like, subscribe, comment, and engage. And yeah, let's get the show on the road. Okay, so what does it mean to be authentic and true to oneself, and at what cost? Authenticity. Oh man. I feel like it's this day and age. I think as we grow up, as children, we are our most authentic selves. I think children there's just this way of being that it's not sugar coated, and there's just a complete freedom of self. And I think along the way we get molded by, whether it's society, the archetypes of society, the standards and boxes that we're meant to fit into, and all of that's good and dandy, but I feel as if I think once you are able to become your authentic self within your own power, with owning yourself and your who you are, or whatever it is that you identify with, you become an unstoppable force. And you have, in a way, you relate, and love is drawn to you. I think that's what authenticity means to me. And being true to oneself is another thing on its own. I feel like that's something I've struggled with a lot. I think a lot of persons can relate to that. More so varsity, I think that was the peak. But I think generally as young people, we struggle a lot. We really do struggle a lot in that regard, being true to ourselves. But I do feel as I get older, there's a lot that just kind of that doesn't matter. I just kind of like, okay, this doesn't really matter. This is not this, and then it kind of frees me up to focus on the things that I really care about, and channel my energy into those things, and just completely be a ball of love, removed from judgment of myself and others, and just being sympathetic and empathetic, and just trying to move forward in that way. So just to give a bit of context for the viewers as well, I think in varsity, especially for men and for males, and I'm going to use sexual relations as the core, especially when it comes to true to self and authenticity. My friends and my crew, should I say, my gents, there's this thing with young men of, oh man, how many women have you slept with? You know, furthermore, which is even, yeah, how many women have you slept with, or you know, when was the last time did you, you know, you slept with somebody, and I was never that dude, you know. Just I never really felt like that. For me, it wasn't necessary to base my value off how many women I sleep with, and I think I struggled with that because I found myself trying to come out of myself and just being myself to kind of fit that standard, that archetype, and it didn't go well with me. I kind of eroded myself. I was kind of very melancholic, you know, in a way, because I was detached from just being myself. And I think once you accept yourself and everything of yourself, you're able to thrive and flourish, and you're able to learn and grow. And I think that's what it was for me, was to just come to terms with myself and accept myself, and then allow myself to just let that go and grow for myself and put myself first, and not try and mirror and compare with other beings. And I think in a way, I think only now in a way, I'm able to come somewhat into my power, inverted commas, because of that. And this is somewhat a reflection of that, because this is something I'm passionate about, creating this space and engaging in this way. So for me, that's basically my take on being authentic. What does it mean to be authentic? Being true to myself, and at what cost? So yeah, and whoever feels like, you know, just, you know, speaking about it next, you guys can just go and just speak. We don't have to go in a circle. If it's ready to speak about it, just talk, and then if you want to engage along the way and expand upon it, let's just be free to just do it, and just forget about the recording. Yeah.
Okay, I feel like being authentic to yourself is difficult when you're young because you don't really know what that means. You know, you're still trying to figure out your values and, you know, who you were in primary school versus who you were in high school versus who you are in like university is not going to be the same.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean, being authentic doesn't mean being stubborn and sticking to things that you thought made you who you were. You know, like I wanted to be a vet when I was in grade 2. I'm not a vet. I can't do bio for days, guys. And some people might be like, oh, you're not being authentic because you're not sticking to what you said you were going to be. And like, that's okay. Yeah.
That's actually a good point. I mean, being authentic, I also feel it's about making yourself happy more than anything. And making yourself happy, it ranges as you grow up. You know, it changes all the time. And, you know, it's all about, you know, going after yourself and your own desires and not going after pleasing people, really. So I think that's, to me, is being authentic, you know, pleasing yourself more than others, chasing your desires more than someone else's. Yeah, so that's a great point.
Yeah, I get you. I think, like, for me, of late, I've really, I'm a person who's I hang to the opinions of people I love for dear life. Like, it matters what they think. And for the longest time, I made many decisions based on what even my mom thinks might be right, or my dad thinks is good for me. And so often now the way I used to reflect is do I approve of myself? Like, outside of everybody else's approval, do I approve of myself? And if yes, then I'm on track. If no, then I'm not on track. My sisters and I are very different. And my mom's got like this one way she wants us to be. She's not rigid, but you know, it's kind of like, let's all move together.
This is what's right.
Yes, and I found often I'd sit with myself and I say, but I don't just not like this, I don't approve of it for myself. I'm okay with, I don't care what someone else is doing, it's their choice, but I don't I don't approve of it for myself. I don't believe that it's what I want. I was telling my sisters that it's not a desire of mine to be filthy rich. I don't care for it. I really, really don't care for it. I want to be happy in a happy home with children and husband, and I want to live in a country that's good. That's it. I don't care for being rich. Like, it's nice if it comes, but I don't care for it. But to find that and to come to terms with that, it also means that you have to face your fears and you have to face your traumas. And often you need to dig traumas that your brain has left behind, dig them up and bring them to the fore and say, okay, cool, I went through this. It was a traumatic experience. It sucks. But this is what it made me to become this way. Therefore, I need to approach things. And that for me is being true to myself and being authentic to myself, and embracing the darkness of my life, not just the good times of my life. Because the more I push that away, the more I keep stumbling and trying to go forward, because there are things that I haven't dealt with. And so I'm a great embracer now of the more crappy parts of my life, and I come face to face with them, and I tell myself, okay, this is how it's changed you. Is it good? Is it bad? Do you want it to change you? Can it change? If it can't, then let's learn to live with it in a way that makes me, live in a better way. So that for me is the core of it all. The coming face to face with your fears and your traumas, and then taking it from there. Yeah.
And I mean, that's something that happens throughout your life.
Yeah.
It's not going to
Yeah,
happen
definitely.
when you hit 20.
Definitely.
You're not going to suddenly be like, cool, childhood trauma, daddy
Yeah,
issues,
yeah,
sorted it out.
definitely.
It's going to happen when you're like 45 with your own kids.
Yeah,
You're going to
yeah.
have to like,
You're gonna relapse.
it's constant.
Yeah, definitely.
But I feel like as you're getting older, your truth changes. So as much as you guys are like, you weren't being authentic to yourself, I feel like you were. That was part of what was meant to happen.
Yeah,
That was the trajectory of your life. So we shouldn't project ourselves. So we shouldn't like berate ourselves harshly for what we were and what we put ourselves through and what we experienced. What it was essentially.
Yeah. So you wanted to say
And I think to go back to what Anissa said about how when you're younger, it's a bit of a different story. I think it makes it really challenging when probably the first 22, 25 so years of your life, when you're so used to having to live up to a certain person's expectation. Like when you're growing up, you can't be 13 and telling your parents, this is what I want to do and I want to do it like this, you know? So you literally find even the values that you form about yourself are influenced a lot by the people that you spend your childhood around the people that you go to school with. And only when later on in life, the more you experience, the more you get to know yourself, you identify, okay, this is what I want. Only then are you comfortably able to be like, okay, I think I'm growing into my genuine self now. I'm dictating my own life. So I really think it's a process, and it really shouldn't be something we put on a timeline. It really shouldn't be something that we compare to another person's journey, because another person could take 20 years to figure it out, another person could take 5. So it's just you knowing what works for you and then just staying true to that.
I also want to go back to the point where like our parents, they were telling us to do things a certain way. What I want to say about that is that, or parents or other people, is that someone being authentic to themselves does affect our authentic. Like it
True.
like
Yeah,
they are themselves. It's not that they're doing what agrees to them.
That's
Being
how they were
authentic,
raised,
but
essentially.
it's destroying your peace. They authentic, it's destroying your peace, and they don't
That's very
even know.
profound.
It's like, it depends on, are you
Yeah.
projecting your authenticity onto someone else? Just
Yes.
because this is my definition of what my life should be like doesn't mean I put it in a box and I go right here. That's your definition.
And realizing and realizing that your authentic self could destroy other people's peace also like allows you to understand when someone is not allowing you to be authentic, like is not allowing you to be authentic to yourself. For like example, understanding that your parents authentic is destroying your peace or the things that you want to do also allows you to see that, okay, like that's how they want things to be, and this is how I want things to be. So you come out of your shell because you're identifying that they are actually doing what is authentic to them. It's not that they're trying to control you, but you're just trying to stick to what makes them feel happy, you know?
With that, I feel like there has to be some form of compromise between people. You must
Exactly.
be willing to adjust and change and be a little bit influenced, not like really influenced to change completely, but to learn different perspectives and be a little bit more tactful.
Influence is not necessarily a bad thing. I feel like we have this negative vibe, like we think of fake influences, but it's like if I influence you to be progressive or whatnot, and it suits your lifestyle, you do that.
And also that being authentic doesn't necessarily mean being an asshole, for lack of a better word. I think
the real truth. You know, I'm
always going on about this, like on my statuses and stuff, because I'm like, so many people will like misinterpret being a nice person for being fake and being a crappy person for being real. And I'm like, it's not the same thing. And I feel that sometimes people use that as an excuse to just be crappy people. And they're not being authentic. They're just not dealing with themselves and their darkness in their hearts, which we all have, you know. So I think I don't see why my being authentic needs to translate badly to you. You know, I don't see why it should keep me from being a decent human being, from being understanding, from being open to being persuaded, and not in a way that you're changing my mind, but to say I'm having a conversation and
to learn
and unlearn, be willing to learn and unlearn. I think that's the problem, like sometimes with our parents, is they kind of rigid in terms of unlearning and learning, and I get it. They come from very harsh pasts. And so for I learned to just be like.
Do you think we need to be more forceful with our parents though? Or do you think...
No, I really don't think we need to be forceful. I think generally, you know, people only change if they want to change. You know, if they want to grow, they want to grow. So what you have to do is respect and understand that this is the way that person is. You can't take offense to the way that person is. You just have to be like, okay, this is the way that this person is, great. You know, except keep it moving.
Just, for me, it's being true to yourself. Like I found that there's a lot of, I'm an activist, and so I've had a lot of resistance, especially from my mom. Not shame because she doesn't want me to flourish or doesn't want me to change the world, but because it makes me vulnerable to being hurt. And I've come to terms with that. I'm okay with that. I know I've sacrificed a lot. I'm still willing to sacrifice a lot. I know that my activism is a means to an end, and that I'm not the movement. The movement is the movement. I'm just, you know, I understand it. It's in my head. I've got it. But she doesn't. She doesn't get it, and
so
it's her child.
So your authenticity is affecting your relationships with people. That's the cost of it.
It is, and it will, it always will. It's a matter of how do we mitigate it? Like, how do we communicate? How do we come together and make it work? I'm myself. I've chosen myself, and it's made my mom respect me more. That's what I've seen. That when I don't sway, when I don't say yes to everything that is put before me, or I don't put everyone else's feelings before mine, I get respect because I say, no, that doesn't work for me. And when I say, no, it doesn't work for me, it produces better results for me, which at the end of the day is what she wants. She doesn't want me to concede to her. She wants me to do better. And if this makes me do better, then she's happy. And it took me a while to get that, you know, because I thought she just wanted me to do everything the way she wants me to. And then I'm like, no, the point is for me to do well. Okay, I am doing well, and she's happy, and she leaves me alone. So
let's expand a bit on that. You're saying, Speeder, what is the cost? So let's focus on the cost of authenticity.
Mental health.
Let's focus on the cost. So let's expand upon that.
It's the relationships, a romantic relationship and platonic relationships.
Let's get into
the relationships with your parents, but
especially
the mental
with the
health.
it's a lot. I feel like that's the bigger conversation.
Okay, let's just start with you, and then you can go and just speak about it, and then we'll move along.
Okay. So I feel like in our communities, because of the whole thing of, okay, our parents grew up in environments that weren't necessarily kind to them, so they dealt with what they had to deal with. And then I think the problem comes when we are now sort of exposed to the after effects of that, and not necessarily in a negative way, because obviously a parent is there to guide and be that source of that voice of reason in your life. But I think what the cost really is, you trying to figure out, when is it going to be disrespectful for me to choose my own path and be authentic, and when is it going to be what's supposed to bring me peace. So it's really, it's a complicated one, because it's like, okay, I want to be respectful, but at times the parents can interpret you choosing your own path as being disrespectful. It's like, oh, you don't listen, you don't want to take my guidance. So I think it really is a cost, and unfortunately not everyone, I mean, we could all be blessed to have understanding parents, but there could be a person out there whose parents are just like, my way goes, and nothing else. So it's really, I think it's complicated, because it's like, when do you draw the line and you're like, okay, I actually want to just maintain this healthy relationship with my parents, so I'm going to do what they say, and then I'm just going to like wing it until whenever. So I think it's definitely relationships. It's also the cost of friendships as well, if you are surrounding yourself with people who have a certain expectation of how they do things. So it's now, okay, are you going to compromise who you are so that they accept you more? So those, I think,
And
the main
sometimes
two
it
for me.
feels like you don't have a choice. Like, this is your environment. These are the friends you have.
You have to
What
adapt.
are you gonna do?
You
Can't just sit and stare at the
away.
four walls at home and do your homework, but also like linking it back to what Lisa said about our parents and just accepting. I have not done that. I have taken every boundary and gone, no.
Really?
And like, I don't know if any of you guys have older siblings. Okay, so I have an older sister, and she's constantly just like, Mom would never let me do that when I was your age. How, like, you came home at 2 a.m. Ha, Mom would never let me. And it's like, I feel like I've almost trained my parents, because it's like, I don't want to have to choose. I don't want to have to choose between a relationship between my mom versus the lifestyle I want to have. I want to strive for both. I don't like this idea of saying pick one, because one is going to bring me happiness. The loss of the other is going to bring me a certain level of sadness. And over the years, it's kind of worked. Like, my mom has realized, okay, you know what? She knows what she's doing with this. She's decided this is what makes her happy. I can't push myself on her anymore. And I think like now I do have a decent relationship. Still shocks my sister though. My sister's just like, not fair.
Sometimes you have to assert yourself and test that boundary and just
like,
dive in.
It reminds me of, sorry.
No, but
you can finish.
no, it's fine.
Yeah, continue speaking so we can just.
I lost my train.
But the costs are worth it. Like sometimes, like how you saying that you pushed it and now like the relationship is even better. The cost going beyond that boundary line really does define the relationships that are worth being there. For this next level of yourself, they really make those relationships that you get after going over that line really worth it. You get like genuine relationships, because the cost is also loneliness at times. You get lonely because you're doing something that you yourself are scared of doing, like being true to yourself, or going after that authentic idea of yourself. Going after it is actually scary, and it costs you a lot of things. Like you get, maybe sometimes you've got people around, but you lonely because they don't understand what you're trying to go for.
That's a wonderful topic, and I think we need to dive into that a bit, because I think we've spoken a bit about family. Now we just have to think about the cost in terms of the persons around us and our friends. And I think I've also seen as one that I think I've been blessed to have gents around me that think like we want to do more, are ambitious, and at the same time I'm always like, okay, listen, I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I literally don't want to be the smartest person in the room. Like, if I'm the smartest person in the room, I know that I'm in the wrong place. Period.
You want to be learning from
I want to be learning from everybody. Now I'm a consumer of information, and I think that's just generally what it is in terms of that. And I've had to, over the course and just kind of coming into myself, I made connections and links with persons that were not necessarily the best for me and my growth. And I had to realize, you know what, my guy, you have to step back and detach and recalibrate and come back to yourself and then build upon that, even though that strain, that mental strain, because now you've formed a bond and now you're lonely, you're like, oh, like what am I going to do now? And then you have to come to terms with yourself and be comfortable with yourself and being in the space and understanding and not looking for guidance, but looking for the guidance within, right? And once that happened, you know, once those things start happening, you start meeting those people, you start talking to these beings and attracting that type of energy and that way of being around you. And that's just basically how I feel in terms of the cost and persons surrounding it. If anybody has anything to add on that.
So how would you navigate something like loneliness? What would your advice be to someone who's really suffering with that?
Oh,
because that is a big thing with authenticity.
Yeah, loneliness.
Become a shock.
Jeez, I don't think those things are synonymous though.
Yeah,
I really don't think they are. But when it comes to just general loneliness, I think there's a mental health aspect to that as well. Some sort of experience, you know, that you've been through, and I think engaging and actually allowing yourself to go out and talk about it and find person to speak about it with. Not necessarily our friends or family, but just generally any being, you know. And I think what I've learned as well for myself is that there was this thing where like, oh, this is another being and this is just another being. I'd always be like, I don't want to say hello or say anything to this being. But now I'm at this point where I'm just like, I'm talking to anybody. Just generally having open conversations. It doesn't matter who you are, whatever it is, just talking. And you find, you know, by doing that, even in a way, I feel like I am somewhat lonely, but in my own power, because I'm moving forward in my own way with my own vision, you know. And at the same time, I'm also interacting with other beings, you know. That's just how I see it. I don't know if you have anything to add on to that in terms of loneliness.
I think when it comes to loneliness, or when you're feeling lonely, sometimes it's good to just ask yourself questions like, why am I feeling lonely? You know, and what do I have that could make me feel otherwise? And also having gratitude, gratitude journals really help you see that you're actually not as lonely as you may think. That is my advice to someone that's feeling like that, because I've also felt like that before. And sitting back, like taking a break from whatever's making you feel lonely. Maybe let's say you are in a family environment, you know, and you're feeling lonely, you know, you're with them, but you're not feeling, or maybe you're just really lonely, like you stay alone, you know. It's good to sometimes just switch off those thoughts and just write them down, or switch off those thoughts and just literally address them in terms of questioning those thoughts. Why am I having these thoughts? What can I do to stop these thoughts from consuming me? You know, it's easier said than done, but it's worth trying to do something like that. I mean, that is how I feel you can deal with things like that. You write it down, or if not write it down, say it out loud. You know, look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, why am I feeling like this? What can I do to stop this feeling? And what am I trying to get from this feeling?
What am I trying to learn as well?
Yes, what am I trying to learn from this feeling? You know, so I think that's how you can.
I feel like you also have to be patient with yourself
Yeah.
and understand that loneliness is a normal thing.
Yeah,
So
it is.
it's not necessarily loneliness is being alone. Just be comfortable and
Yeah.
accept that you're not always gonna be on cloud 9 and happy and all the time. And
Yeah.
it's okay. It's
Yeah.
perfectly. It's healthy.
Yeah.
It's just as healthy as being happy.
Especially in the name of being authentic.
Yeah.
Especially in the name of being authentic.
Yeah.
We really need to start embracing being alone and feeling lonely and being by ourselves, and having even people who are very close to you kind of push away. They do come back, you know.
It's just like a healthy space.
Yes,
Yeah.
like in
That's very
embracing the fact that I'm alone, and because the thing about it is that it forces you to come face to face with yourself.
Definitely.
It forces you to come face to face with your weaknesses, your darkness, your ugly things, and your everything that
and
is
to
not
fall in
nice.
love with yourself.
And to fall in love with
Yeah.
yourself. And you
Yes.
need to get through those stuff to,
That's a wonderful.
Yeah, so like for me, embrace it. My best friend and I always say, whenever we're going through stuff, okay, cool, this is tough, but are you present in your season? Are you present? Because you can say it's painful, but like, put it away. Be present in your loneliness. Be present in the most sucky parts of life, as much as you are with the good ones, and it all comes together. But definitely what you're saying, like, it's normal, it's okay, and for the most part, we need it. We need to
We
be
definitely
alone.
need it.
Like
Yeah.
something I struggled with is lockdown was it was a lack of escapism. It was like I needed to go out and see friends. I needed to go to campus. I needed to constantly be doing something. And suddenly I didn't have something to occupy my mind.
Yeah.
And it was like, shit, I have to like focus on my thoughts. I
Yeah.
have to focus on, like, this is my reality. Like, there is nothing else to focus on. There's no going out with friends for a couple of drinks. There's no, you know, because I realized like I did that quite often just to not feel lonely, but it really was an escapism.
You really meet yourself with your loneliness. You get to know yourself and you get to know that it's okay to not know yourself, and you accept and you just go with it, and you fall in love with yourself, and you open your mind up to the fact that, okay, I need to learn this, I need to unlearn that, and you know, it's like dating yourself, I guess, which is important.
Yeah, it is.
It's very important.
So let's focus a bit on that now. The effects, the psychological effects of actually coming back to self during the lockdown, during COVID-19, and that cost of being detached from the norms that we had once existed in, to a completely different norm. So, can we expand a bit on that?
I took a whole year last year,
Yeah.
and I did nothing.
Yeah.
My best friend went through a big loss, so she wasn't as present as either of us would have wanted, and that was okay. We're both fine because her loss was also my loss, so it was just messy. I was away from people who were my comfort zone. So that year prepared me for the lockdown. I was okay. I was okay with not going out, with all of that. I did cook way more than I should and bake way more than I should. But it gave me, for me, the lockdown gave me a space that wasn't traumatic to continue where I'd left off the year before. Because it feels like when you've taken a year off and then you start again, it feels like, okay, I'm done with that, now I'm onto that. And it gave me a continuation to say, okay, keep on looking into yourself, keep on discovering what it is you like, keep being honest with what you like, keeping honest with who you are and what you want to do, and keep affirming yourself without the noise, without escaping that, because it is hard. So for me, it wasn't difficult. It wasn't, I won't lie, it wasn't difficult. The alcohol may have been difficult, but
For me, it was difficult.
Like
The lockdown.
Okay, let's
The
just
lockdown
start with
experience.
you speak. Yeah.
For me, it was very difficult. Number one, I was going through the worst breakup, so I was suffering from anxiety and depression, and I really depended on that person for happiness, and now they weren't there. Number one, and number two, it was a lockdown, so I couldn't escape to my friends, to things, to being busy. It was just like me and my thoughts, and I would find myself sleeping for a lot of the time. It was just a waste of time. But like through getting to know myself and spending time and literally dating myself, I guess, at home and making the most of it, it like, I'm so happy now. Like I'm on like another level. But like I just feel like I'm more comfortable with being alone, and that's what I was saying, like the whole alone thing. I enjoy it, and I think it's important, and this lockdown has given a lot of people time to get to know themselves and meet themselves, or meet a different version of themselves, I guess.
I just know like I missed the interaction. For me, like I started studying this year, and so I'm doing a BA and Psych and English. And a lot of that is like using your class as a sounding board for your ideas. And you know, like when you have a conversation about something, you remember what you're talking about. Imagine trying to learn that online. Like suddenly it's just like, go learn about the brain, go do it. And it's like, I'm not having a conversation, I'm not discussing feelings and thoughts, I now have no interest in this. And it's kind of been like that for everything. I just think I'm a talker, and I like having that interaction. It just makes everything so much easier for me. And like psychologically it does make sense, like that's healthy. You need people as your sounding board just to discuss feelings. And as much as, you know, being your own source of happiness is a good thing, is a healthy thing, it's not bad to want someone to like you or to appreciate things that you say. You know, like don't depend on them, but when someone says that's a clever idea or thank you for that, you know, you feel good about yourself and you're like, cool, I'm a worthwhile human being. I made a positive impact on someone, and it feels really difficult to make positive impact on anyone during lockdown. You feel very disconnected.
Validation is important here and there, but not to live on it. But
no,
it has its role.
Should I be concerned? Like,
you're just like going through life. Like,
I've moved. I mean, it's a good and a bad thing, but I'm looking at myself. I'm a very interactive person. I like speaking. I like people. I like hanging out. But I'm a very, like, I come back to myself. I'm very.
That is actually me. Like,
Like
people
you don't
think
need
I'm an
validation from others,
extrovert, but
is
I'm
that what
actually.
you're saying? In a way.
I don't care for it.
That's not a bad thing.
I don't.
I'm exactly where you are.
I
don't
wish
know.
to be there.
No, I'm exactly where you are. I'm
wish
at
to be
that
there.
point, and I think there's freedom in that.
Yeah.
much
Definitely, I'm sure.
I wish to be there though.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm not, like you're there and I'm here and I'm just like, I'm worried about everyone's opinion. Like if a stranger walks past and goes, why is she doing that? It's like, wait, stop, let me know why you thought that. Tell me how you feel. Like I need to improve, let me know.
Yes. I want to defend myself. I just feel like I'm being a crappy sister though. Like I feel like my sisters are big on validation, and it's the whole hype people up and whatever.
Do you give
And they're
validation?
really sometimes because I don't care for it.
You don't see the need to also give it up.
But that goes in with the thing of 5 love languages. Some people accept love through words of affirmation, and you don't. It doesn't resonate with you.
It was a love language though.
It was.
It
more.
can
But you
change.
evolve as a
Yeah.
person. You change, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's part of being authentic, changing and evolving and going with whatever is true to yourself at that time.
Like I feel like yours would be acts of service. Being an activist, you'd appreciate someone standing up for something or doing something for you instead of just going like, "Thank you for this," and you're like, "Yeah, I know, it was amazing."
I think it's definitely quality time, but it's just I don't see why must we keep affirming one another? Like we have to live on each other's affirmation. I want to come to you myself, and I don't want you to tell me you're happy with it. I want you to
Speak up.
I want you to mind your own business. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, to just be like I don't know. Like, it's I want you to love me for who I am. I just want you to love me for who I am. To not care about everything else. And I want to be comfortable in that, to be open and honest with you. I don't want to have to think. That's why I'm saying mind your own business. It's like, it's your life. You're an adult and you know what you need. And if you don't need it, and if you don't know, you ask, you know?
Yeah.
I just think, I don't know.
You want
I
someone
hear
to-
you,
Okay, let's start
but
with
I feel like that's a good place to be at. But I feel like it's also important to be mindful of the fact that not everyone's there yet.
Yeah.
So you can be super super perfect and content, but you might be, like you said, you don't know if your sisters
Content.
like you said, you don't know if your sisters are, if you're a bad sister or what. And I'm not saying that you are, but now put yourself in a situation where your sisters actually thrive off getting affirmation and validation and also giving it, you know. So it's like, just be that and be, it's not a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing to not want validation from people, but I think it's important to know that other people might not have reached that point yet, and they might still be relying on that affirmation. So maybe just every now and again, for the people that you do care about, just like throw in one affirmation here and there. You know, it doesn't have to be something forced, but like just a light thing of, oh, you are, I don't know what it could be, but you know,
like it's still sincere.
It has
necessarily
yes,
loud.
definitely.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I wish to be at that place. I feel like seeking validation from people really does hold you back, because you won't do the things you want to do because you're like, okay, what's so and so gonna say about this?
And even doing them properly, like even things that I was really good at, I'd start doubting myself at it, because everyone's always questioning how you do it. And I remember having to call my best friend, or this guy I used to date, and say like, I'm really smart, and they'd be like, yes, you are smart. So I'm pretty sure I can handle this. Yes, you can handle this. So why do I feel like this? For things that I know I'm good at, for things that I know I'm great at, and things I was born to do, and to doubt yourself because of people's opinions. That was not working.
Imposter syndrome as well.
Yeah, it wasn't working.
But I feel like people's opinions make us accountable to what is
Definitely,
right as well.
definitely.
So
I think there's a
that plays
difference
role.
between a person's opinion and constructive criticism.
Yes.
Right? There's opinions that persons come from their own environments and their own makeup of themselves, and then they apply their own understanding of a particular situation or whatever it is that you're trying to articulate. And then there's constructive criticism where people, you understand that this person has weight in this industry or whatever it is, or has experience, and then you can be like, okay, I understand, that this is something that I can work on. I think that's where I'm at, in a way, like understanding that, okay, I know this energy, I know what this energy is, so I can be like, okay, this energy is not the right energy. I don't even need to entertain that. It's not even about the words. And then I know, okay, this is something that is truthful, that's pure, right? And then I'm allowing that into me. I'm like, okay, this is something that I can work with, right? And it took some time. Like for me, the only reason why I'm in this place now is because I went through a tremendous trial. A tremendous trial. And I think it doesn't have to, I don't think everybody will get to that place, but it's sometimes to unlock your genius and to unlock the divinity of self, you have to go through a certain trial. Trauma. Exactly. Trauma unlocks that.
I feel like there's gold at the rock bottom, so you have to go there.
No, I don't think it's necessarily that.
Not always.
Not
Sometimes
always.
it's okay not to, But I get what you mean.
And I think that's generally for me. That's why and because I was at a place where I cared for what people think, I'm also very conscious and mindful. Like, okay, when somebody reacts, okay, maybe they're thinking of it in this way. Okay, let me just say, like, no, listen, this is what I mean, or this, that, and the other, to kind of, because I know that I was there. So I don't want them to feel any type of way because of that.
Do you ever feel like people use their trauma as like reasons for not doing something so great? Because like, just as a quick example, right? So someone will be like, okay, I'm never going to cheat because I was cheated on and I know it's a bad thing. And then there's me like, why did you have to be cheated on to know it's a bad thing? Like, so something like that, like, I went through a past trauma, so this is how I'm acting. And it's like, you don't necessarily have to go through shittiest things in the world to not be a shitty person.
Yeah, no, definitely.
That's a point.
Feeling like a victim,
It's not a victim, it's a trauma.
Yeah.
But
like it's valid.
you should see yourself as a victor from that trauma.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
I get what, but it's still a trauma. Do you get what I'm saying?
It
like
is, it is.
And that's the thing about trauma, is that it produces many different aspects, and sometimes you do see yourself as a victim, but you are aware that you suffered, and it's important to be aware that, what, I suffered here and I got hurt here, and I must be validated for feeling that way. It doesn't mean like I must be sad all my life. Like I get what you're saying, and to push through, but it's also important to validate yourself and say that was a hard time. I think I struggled with saying I went through a big trauma. I was hurt. And for a while, I had a hard time getting out of bed, and I had a hard time saying, you know what, I'm struggling with this and that and that. And the moment you do that, it also helps you to understand yourself and
some people don't get to that point though.
I think you coming onto something very profound there in terms of a victim, in terms of the mentality.
Yeah.
You can expand a bit on that.
I was gonna say, like, yes, you shouldn't take away the fact that you were a victim to that certain trauma, never. But being a victor actually is not saying that you're taking away the fact that you went through that. It's saying that yes, I went through that, but now I am, stronger, and also knowing that okay, someone out there might also be going through the same thing, might also be a victim. Maybe I can, my story can inspire them and help them see that yes, those days are dark, but you can go past them. There's light at the end of the tunnel. And also for me, I don't know for everyone, but like for me, I always tell myself that someone out there might be going through the same thing that I'm going, maybe even worse. So I shouldn't allow myself to be drawn in this darkness. Yes, I might be in that dark point, but like, going back to the fact that I look in the mirror and I ask myself, why am I feeling this way? What am I to learn from this? How can I rise from this adversity? So, that also helps me remember that there might be someone out there going through the same thing. So I should not dwell in this darkness. I should try and find a lesson. I should try go over it. I should try see what it's teaching me so that I can become a victor from the situation. Wanting to become a victor in the situation allows you to, be better and do better, because we go through things to make us stronger. That's what I feel. And some things are terrible, really terrible, things that you cannot replace. But knowing that you've gone through that and now you're going to be strong on the other side really helps you to be stronger and better. Addressing those traumas that way helps you to be stronger and better. I don't know though. I stand to be corrected, but
I think you touched on a very
yeah,
wonderful
yeah.
I feel like the darkness is important though, to actually take your time and really feel it. It's just as important as being happy. Like, because if you don't feel those things, they're going to catch up with you one day.
Yes.
You need to take time to feel it and get comfortable with it and just be like, okay, I'm here. Cry, but establish a day where you're like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to cry about this anymore. But in that space, also create space for yourself to like slip through the cracks and not be hard on yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's important. I'm speaking from my personal experience as well, that I often would shift painful times and hurts and say, no, it's okay, people are going through it, you're not the only one to go through this, and like, just get up, girl, and get through
People
it.
are going through worse things.
You know what, like,
This is
come on,
nothing.
yes,
And you feel like you're just whining over nothing.
And your pain is as valid as
Yeah.
And even when I say I'm sad, I don't know why. Like, I'd say that, I'm like, I don't know why I'm sad, but I don't know why. It's not as if like, and I start comparing it to everyone. And it's important to go, it was painful, it hurt, and it was below the belt, it crippled me, and I recognize that, but I'm gonna stand up now.
People don't want to be
it's
seen
life.
as weak though, based on that.
People
Don't want to be labeled as weak.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's not weak. It's not weak. It's pretty strong to say this
I think that's
God is like, boo.
oh man. Now I think, ladies, thank you so much. I think this was great, man, and I feel like we really engaged, and I hope that the guys will be a bit, I doubt it, but this was really informative, and I feel like there's just a lot that I've been opened up to, just so many perspectives and views, and I'm just so thankful that you guys were here and being on this platform, and more so that people are actually going to see this, right? Imagine the amount of people that are going to connect, that are actually going to watch this and be like, okay, geez, this is the stuff that we go through. This is real content that I really want to engage with and, kind of understand myself. So I'm so grateful for you guys being here. And Speed, I'm grateful for you, Speed. Thank you so much for bringing these two phenomenal beings and you two for coming. I really do appreciate you guys. And yeah, guys, this is basically the first of many women's round tables or round circles. And please do like, subscribe, comment at The Reality Shift SA on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and at Litswe Mboto on all of those platforms. For me, the young boyski, I'm out.